to Limbic Light Podcast Season 2, Unspoken Truths, where you'll learn all about fantastic, simple and effective tips and strategies to transform your health. I'm Manisha Blunchley, your host, creator of Limbic Light Podcast, with more than 40 years experience helping people in the natural health field. And with us, we have co-host David Niven Miller, creator of growyouthful.com website, an extensive resource on natural remedies. Welcome back, everybody, and we have got another fantastic topic for you today. With us is our co-host, David Niven Miller. Hello, David.
Hi, Manisha, and thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic. We're going to be speaking about apple cider vinegar, one of those fantastic remedies that's so useful for so many conditions. So let's launch in, David. I know you're an expert at this. You've been taking it for years. So maybe you could start by sharing with our listeners what is apple cider vinegar and maybe how it's made, just a little bit of background information.
Yeah, apple cider vinegars, it's been made for centuries. It's a traditional remedy, and it's used as a food condiment and as a remedy. You can take it internally and you can put it on your skin. The best apple cider vinegar to buy, and it's widely available in health food shops, in your supermarket, in chemists and so on. The best apple cider vinegar to buy is one that has not been pasteurized. That means it hasn't been heated. So when you look at it, it should be slightly cloudy, and it may even have little cobwebs inside it. And that means that it's alive. And that's actually what to look for, an unpasteurized, naturally made apple cider vinegar. They taste very vinegary, very acidic, and you can use it in a salad dressing, you can use it in your food, but you can also take it internally, just having it with water, and we'll go into that more later.
Lovely.
But it's a wonderful natural remedy that has all benefits and does very little harm. There's one thing to look out for with regard to your teeth that we can talk about later, because it is so acidic. But aside from that, it's one of my true natural remedies.
Just coming back to when you were talking about the different types that are best to buy, I am aware that I've seen different apple cider vinegars for sale. I've seen some in supermarkets that are completely clear and clean on the inside. And then I've seen the other ones that have what you say, it's almost like a murky little cloudy sediment even in the bottom. So there are different varieties there. And what do you think about the clear ones that you can buy, the more commercial brands?
I would avoid the commercial brands. So when you're buying an apple cider vinegar, if there's some sediment on the bottom, that's great. And if it looks cloudy or it looks a little bit like cobwebs that are hanging in the vinegar, that's actually what you really want to have. And on the label, it should be made from apples and water. It shouldn't have any other chemicals added, and it should not be pasteurized, as I've said already.
That's fantastic. You know, I've got a friend in our local area and she makes her own apple cider vinegar, and I've never really had a good conversation with her to find out how she makes that. But maybe that's something that people could even make. Are you familiar or aware of how that could be made at all, David?
I've never made it. You've got to have access to lots of apples and the ability to juice apples. But for somebody who has an orchard, it's a wonderful thing to be able to make your own apple cider vinegar. And ideally, that's the best apple cider vinegar to buy, because a small maker like that is much more likely to be organic and to do everything without looking like it's made in a factory. It's a small personal operation.
So I guess what it is, it's really a fermentation process of the apples, would you say?
Absolutely. It's like a lot of other home ferments, like making your own ginger beer or making kombucha, of course, making kefirs and so on. They have a lot of similar bacteria and yeasts in them, and they do all go acidic as the yeasts and the bacteria do their fermentation.
That's great. So many of the fermented foods seem to really do have a good effect, particularly for our guts. So let's dive into looking at apple cider vinegar, why it might be so useful. What is it doing for the body?
It's got a good range of minerals in it and a lot of enzymes if it's alive, and it's acidic in itself. So overall, it helps your digestive system to be on the acidic side rather than the alkaline side. And you definitely want your stomach and in general your digestive system to be as acid as possible, particularly your stomach. And that is actually contrary to a lot of what we hear from mainstream medicine and the advertising industry about trying to make your stomach less acidic. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Yes.
It's really important to have as much acid in your stomach as possible.
Yes.
And taking apple cider vinegar greatly assists that.
Yes, I read somewhere, I think the pH of your stomach should be somewhere around 3.4 or something like that. And of course, people often think that, our body needs to be more alkaline. But as you said, the stomach actually needs to be acidic so that it can break down all those complex foods that we put into our stomach, particularly the proteins. If they're not digested properly, then I imagine that that's going to start a whole cascade of issues of undigested foods and inflammatory problems as a result of really right there in the beginning, the stomach not being able to digest that food properly. So
yeah, that's right. And one of the first signs that your stomach is not acidic enough is having acid reflux.
Yes.
Or that regurgitation.
Isn't that interesting? It's a lot of people think when they have acid stomach that they've got too much acid and they shouldn't take apple cider vinegar. And I'm glad you brought that up because in fact, it's not that at all.
In your supermarket or your health food store, you can buy tablets to make your stomach less acid. It's exactly the opposite to what you want to do.
Yeah.
So if you have acid reflux, you want to make your stomach more acid, and apple cider vinegar helps dramatically. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. Yeah. About 20 years ago, I had acid reflux, and this was before I really started researching my own health. I had acid reflux, and I used to buy antacid tablets, and they gave me very temporary relief. So they did give relief, but but the situation just got worse and worse in the long term. And it wasn't until I discovered apple cider vinegar and how perverse these antacid tablets are that I discovered what the truth was. I even went and visited a specialist, and this specialist prescribed me a pharmaceutical medication that would make my stomach less acid. Less acid. And I never took the medication. I started taking apple cider vinegar instead. And in fact, when I started taking apple cider vinegar, the next day, my stomach was better. The reflux disappeared, and I haven't had it again.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's just, that was when I started to really get that this is not a health food conspiracy. It really, some of the medical pharmaceutical products are not going to help you. And I mean, I'm not saying that's always the case, of course not. But my experience with being prescribed a medication for reflux and then doing the exact opposite was just a real eye-opener for me. And apple cider vinegar, within one day, fixed my acid reflux that had been bugging me for years.
That's so great that you share that, particularly your own experience, because a lot of people have troubles getting their head around that, how that could be possible, that when they've got acid reflux, that taking something acidic might actually correct it. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. So David, that's obviously one very, very big and important benefit of the apple cider vinegar. But how about you mention a few of the others? There's a huge list, isn't there? Maybe you could dive into that a little bit.
There's a long list of ailments that apple cider vinegar is able to help. So it improves your digestion in many ways, not only by making your stomach more acidic, but by providing that acidity for better digestion of proteins and foods and so on. Your stomach has a valve at the top that connects to your esophagus, and it's called the esophageal sphincter. And that valve closes. It should be closed all the time. And the trigger to keep it closed is an acidic stomach. If your stomach is not acid enough, that valve tends to be leaky and it can't even remain open.
That explains the acid reflux. That's perfect. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. There's just a long list of ailments that apple cider vinegar is able to assist or even completely cure. It's on your skin. If you have any kind of fungal infection on your skin, apple cider vinegar is marvelous. So jock itch and smelly feet and athlete's foot and so on, apple cider vinegar is the go-to remedy to fix all of them quickly and effectively. It assists with acne on your skin. It can assist with other allergies and reactions on your skin, inflammations on your skin. Apple cider vinegar is very useful. And you can just apply it directly to your skin, or if it is burning it a bit too strong, you can dilute the apple cider vinegar a bit.
Actually, I just wanted to mention, David, you mentioned allergies. Of course, you were talking about topical application, on the skin surface. But I had a friend who had severe hay fever. He would get it every year in the springtime when the flowers came out. And he was introduced to apple cider vinegar, and he said it worked magically for him. And he found the sweet spot dosage for him. He said he needed 1 tablespoon twice a day in water, and he was able to get rid of all symptoms of his allergic rhinitis, the runny nose, the sneezing, the itchy eyes, and everything like that. And I just thought that was fantastic that there's this such cheap, readily available remedy that can fix a problem that so many people suffer from. So
yeah, I used to suffer. In fact, I still suffer slightly, but I used to have hay fever really badly. And here in Perth, we're just entering the hay fever season right now. And taking a glass of water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in it and doing that twice a day, it virtually makes hay fever a thing of the past. It's so fantastic. Easy, so cheap, so quick. It's just a wonderful natural remedy.
What about, I know in the old days, everyone used to say, have apple cider vinegar and honey in a bit of water for arthritis. What's your thoughts on that?
It does help. It's not the go-to remedy for arthritis. If you have osteoarthritis, the number one remedy there is borax, or getting your boron up to sufficiency. But apple cider vinegar is useful. It does assist, and for some people where the arthritis has a nutritional and it's based on the inability to absorb minerals, apple cider vinegar is very, very effective there.
The other one that I saw on your list, which piqued my interest, was loss of weight and removal of toxins. It actually breaks down fat in the body, and I think a lot of people might be happy to get that with a very simple remedy. So tell us a little bit about why would that be happening, or what's your knowledge of that?
Yeah, apple cider vinegar is very useful. It helps break down some fats. And it's very useful as a chelator. So it does combine with some other toxins that may be in your body. It also assists in general the action of your liver and your gallbladder and creating enough bile. So it doesn't just assist the stomach in digestion, but it assists your elimination organs, which are the liver in particular, and assists with the removal of toxins. So
that's great.
Yeah, I've used it there, and it's very effective.
So I know a lot of perimenopausal women who have gallbladder issues, and they end up losing their gallbladder. They have it removed, surgically removed, because of inflammation of the gallbladder. But I'm just wondering, if they were to take apple cider vinegar on a regular basis, maybe it would make the bile flow more evenly to prevent, and the liver work better, so that it could be prevention of the gallbladder stones, gallbladder inflammation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I agree. It assists greatly in the action of those organs. Although if you do have gallbladder problems and you have stones, the primary thing to get right there is your diet itself. So the number one thing to do is to avoid sugar and to get off those refined carbohydrates. That would be the number one thing to do. But alongside it, I would take apple cider vinegar, and you'd transform your health very quickly.
The other one that I saw, which really again piqued my interest, was apple cider vinegar has an anti-glycemic action. So it's particularly good for diabetes.
Yes. Although again, it goes back to avoiding sugar and the refined carbs. But if you do have diabetes, yes, apple cider vinegar will help you with your insulin sensitivity, and it'll help in lowering the level of glucose in your blood, just in general. If you have a high blood glucose level all the time, of course, number one is your diet. But in assisting that, apple cider vinegar is great. It's just a supplement that you can take just for general health, because it's so good in so many areas.
And do you think people are getting as much benefit from it if they mix it in water as opposed to mixing it with a bit of olive oil on their salad dressing? Maybe we can talk about that. What do you think the best way to take it is?
If you're wanting to take apple cider vinegar in quantity and you're doing it as a therapeutic, the best way to take it is a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, and do that twice a day. So that way you're getting 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Of course, it's great to use it on a salad dressing. And in fact, this is a good way to take it for the rest of your life, and being delicious. So use apple cider vinegar in your salad dressings, on your salads, and you're getting a smaller dose every day. It's not as harmful for your teeth, and it's delicious, and it's an easy lifestyle thing to do with no effort. It's actually all benefit because it's delicious. But if you need to take more, then it's a matter of taking it with water twice a day. And the problem when you're taking larger quantities of apple cider vinegar is to do with your teeth. Apple cider vinegar is corrosive on your teeth, and you must be aware of that if you're taking it 2 tablespoons a day. And what I recommend then is getting hold of a straw if you can, and you drink your glass of vinegar water through a straw. So hold the straw at the back of your mouth and drink it, so that most of the vinegar goes to the back of your mouth, and then you're able to drink it that way. If you do have, when you finish the glass of water, if you do have any on your teeth, which you probably will have, just rinse your mouth with some clean water. Or if your teeth are quite sensitive and you've had the ACV on your teeth, in the rinse that you're using for your mouth, just put a 1/4 teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate, which you can buy in any supermarket. It's readily available. 1/4 teaspoon and just a little bit of water. Rinse your mouth, and that will combat completely the effect of the acid on your teeth.
Now, I've got a little question here. It's just something I've often wondered about. a lot of people come across information that it's, of course, very good to have alkaline body, alkaline water. And so some people go as far as putting a little bit of soda bicarb in their water and drinking that. Now, given what you've just said, that we really should have an acidic environment in our stomach, would drinking soda bicarb, a very alkaline substance, into the stomach, would that be disruptive to our digestion and other processes? What do you think about that?
It depends on, in general, I would say no, you don't need to drink sodium bicarbonate. It depends. Like I use sodium bicarbonate every day. I toothpaste with sodium bicarbonate, a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of sodium bicarbonate, a tiny bit of clove oil, and there's a homemade toothpaste. And when I brush my teeth, I put some extra sodium bicarb on my toothbrush. So I try and keep my mouth alkaline as possible. So keeping sodium bicarbonate in your mouth or putting it in your mouth twice a day is beneficial. So you want your mouth to be as alkaline as possible. You may want it on your skin at times, especially if you have eczema. It's useful to be able to use sodium bicarb. And if you have any reasons why you want, there are some more specific situations in which you might want to use sodium bicarb, but in general, no. It's just something to counter the effects of acidity in your mouth.
Yes, and I've often been very cautious about getting over-alkalized water too, for that very reason that we actually don't want too much alkalinity going into our stomach. So I don't know, there's a lot of
another lesson. Yeah, I learned a very hard lesson about 25 years ago. I got one of the first water alkalizers just when they started becoming popular. So you connect up these water alkalizers to your tap and you apply an electric current, you plug them in, and they split your water into alkaline water and acidic water. And I drank alkaline water for several years. And superficially, I felt good drinking it. It's very useful to get the alkaline minerals. They're very healthy and very good. But what I was doing at the same time was alkalizing my stomach, and it was the cause of a number of problems. It is not, alkaline water is not good for your stomach and your digestive system in general. So it was a nasty lesson. I didn't do myself any good by drinking alkaline water in the long term.
So just on that, what were some of the problems, and also what level of pH was that water? I'm quite curious.
Well, the alkaline water, I did measure the pH. I've forgotten what it was, but it was definitely alkaline. It was well above 7. It was like 10 or something like that. But the alkaline water was not what scientists call highly buffered. So although it had quite a high pH, it had very little mineral content. So it didn't need much to counteract it. If it was highly buffered, it would have had a high mineral content, and it would have needed a lot of vinegar or something acidic to counter it. But its mineral content was so low, even though it was alkaline, that it didn't need much to bring it back to neutral.
And what were some of the health problems that you got as a result of that?
Primarily acid reflux.
Oh, now that's interesting, isn't it? Exactly what you said before. It was the cause of acid reflux
in the long term.
Okay, that's so interesting to know that.
Yeah, my digestion wasn't as good as it should have been after drinking alkaline water for a couple of years. And the main problem I had was acid reflux. So the alkaline water caused acid reflux.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I know it's not on the real subject of apple cider vinegar, but it's related because the apple cider vinegar is so good for our health and it brings the acidity into our stomach, and we have to look at what might be causing our stomach to become less acidic. And I have to admit that in our household, we've just put a triple filter system into the rainwater, and it's measuring the pH of the water is now measuring up around 10. And which is very alkaline. And we've only been doing this for a few weeks, and I've been wondering, my stomach's not been feeling that great lately. And I thought, I wonder if there's something to do with the water. So I'm so glad you spoke about this. And also because so many other people do have filtration systems for their water that are highly alkalizing. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. As I said, the alkaline water does have alkaline minerals in it. So alkaline minerals are zinc and copper and calcium and so on. And it's good to get those minerals. But just be aware that, you've got to counter that with good acidity. So your solution may be as simple as keep drinking that water, but maybe put a few drops of apple cider vinegar in it, or make sure that you have some apple cider vinegar with your lunchtime salad.
Yes, absolutely. That's such good advice. Thank you so much. Before we sign off, I just wondered, because I did have a quick look at your list this morning on your website of all the conditions that apple cider vinegar can help with. I thought we would just close up by maybe if you could just go through that list briefly, just to really reiterate to our listeners how useful and beneficial the apple cider vinegar is.
Sure, I'll actually read through the list. So
Great.
Acid reflux, we've already mentioned. Acne, it's very useful, as with a lot of skin problems. So any kind of fungal infection on the skin, nail fungus, jock itch, athlete's foot, it's useful for eczema. So dermatitis, all these kind of skin infections and skin inflammations, try apple cider vinegar. It's useful for allergies, as we discussed already, arthritis in some situations. It can help with asthma. It helps with some prostate problems if you take it regularly. It helps with cholesterol, healthy cholesterol levels, maintenance of good cholesterol levels. It can help with even something like chronic fatigue in producing good energy in your mitochondria. It assists there. It can assist with depression and some psychological problems. If you have gout, it's a very useful remedy there. It helps even with some viral infections like herpes. It can be useful there. Sinus problems, if you have a variety of sinus problems and infections, it can help there. A sore throat. So basically, having a regular daily dose of apple cider vinegar and water, it maintains excellent health, and it's a preventative for a wide variety of problems. It's one of those wonderful remedies.
And the optimal way to take it, David, you were saying, is 1 tablespoon twice a day, but diluted in a little bit of water. Is that correct?
And then watch out for your teeth.
Okay. And best before food or after food, with food? Any suggestions there?
Before food, if you're going to have it before a meal, it will help improve the digestion of that meal. But it's not that important. You can take it with food, before or after food. But taking it immediately before food prepares your digestion for proteins, and it's easier on your teeth as well. The acidity that would have been on your teeth, if you have the food immediately afterwards, your mouth is flushed with that food, so it combats the acidity on your teeth.
That's wonderful. I remember advising people when they had poor digestion that they had the option to take digestive enzymes. And of course, not everyone wants to pop tablets. But I said, well, there's an easier way. And one of them is Swedish bitters. And another one is apple cider vinegar in water. If you take it with your food, particularly the heavier protein meals, because it will assist in the breakdown. So yes, that just goes hand in hand with what you're saying now. It's perfect. So David, you've provided us wonderful information once again. And I just wanted to make another call out to your website. It's growyouthful.com. If anyone wants to go to that website and have a little bit of a browse, and you can get more information, you could look at some of the research that's backing up this information and a whole pile of information. I really encourage you to do that. It's a wealth of good data and information. So thank you, everybody.
If you do use apple cider vinegar for any ailment, you're welcome to comment on it on the website, leave your testimonial, and you can vote on whether the remedy, or apple cider vinegar or any other remedy, worked in your case.
That's a fantastic service to have, so you can see what other people are finding with their results. Yeah. Thanks, David, and thanks all our listeners. We'll touch base again soon.
Thank you, Manisha. Yeah, thanks. See you.
See you, David. Bye for now.
Bye.